everyone, this is Faith at Faith and Books. How are you doing? Since I have a few minutes, I thought I would do my Victober TBR. Now, this is not all the reading that I plan to do in October, but it is the reading that I plan to do to participate in Victober, which is such a wonderful event, and it's really the reason why I started my BookTube channel. It's what inspired me to start my BookTube channel. How many years ago? 5 years ago? 4 years ago? So anyway, so this is my TBR as of right now. There are 4 prompts from each of the hosts. So Marissa, and I'm drawing a blank on her channel name, but I will link below to all this. Her challenge was to read a book that was serialized. A lot of Victorian literature was serialized when it was first published, and I'm picking Nicholas Nickelby. I have discovered the last 2 Victobers that I really like listening to Dickens on audio. I'm not a big audiobook listener. Maybe I listen to 2 to 5 a year. I just am not. That's just not my favorite way of reading books. But I do really like Dickens. I think he really lends himself to being read out loud, and also I enjoy starting a big thick Dickens in October and just letting it stretch out towards December or into December, because I find it puts me in a good mood for Christmas. There's something, even if he's not particularly talking about Christmas, there's something about the atmosphere that Dickens creates that makes me feel Christmassy. So it puts me in a good mood. So I did last year. I listened to Little Dorrit from October to December. The year before, I listened to Pickwick Papers. I believe that's when I did it. So this year it's going to be Nicholas Nickleby. And the reason why I want Nicholas Nickleby is because a long time ago, in the 70s or 80s, it was on Broadway, and it was this really long play. It was like 6 hours long, and it had actors that had to play different parts. And so they would run off stage and change and then come back and be a different character. And it was like this marathon. And I never saw it on Broadway, of course, but I saw it on PBS. And I didn't see the whole thing. I saw only part of it. But it really had a David Copperfield kind of vibe to it. And so I remember what little bit I did watch, I enjoyed, even though I didn't really know the storyline very well. So all these years later, I've decided to revisit Nicholas Nickleby. So that is for Marissa's challenge. Kate House said something that has religion in it. And a lot of Victorian novels do. But I've been trying to read through my mother's Trollope collection. I was going to read this earlier in the year. This is 2 novellas. And Nina Balatka, the first one, is about an interfaith marriage. A Jewish, I think a Christian woman, and no, maybe she's, I don't know which one's Jewish and which one's Christian now. But I think that would be very interesting to read, especially because I think Trollope in some of his books is kind of anti-Semitic, but maybe he changed as he grew older. I don't know. And then Linda Tressel, these 2 novellas. So if I read the first one, if I read the Nina novella, I'm going to consider it good. If I also get through Linda Tressel, I will also, that would be even better. But that one has to do with a woman who's controlled by her very Calvinistic grandmother. So that also has religion in it. So this would definitely fit the religion prompt by Kate Howe, and it also would further my goal of reading through my mother's Trollops. So that's for that. And then Katie of Books and Things, hers was a book that plays with form. I don't know if I'm doing it exactly how she described it, like she was talking about epistolary or different narrators, that sort of thing. This is Sylvie and Bruno by Lewis Carroll, and I found this earlier this year in a used bookstore, and I'd never heard of it before. I just love it. It's a reprint of the original. And this is just a really odd book, apparently. It is almost all dialogue, and apparently it's got 2 stories going on at the same time. One takes place in fairyland, and one takes place in real life. And so I think it plays enough with form, or it's unusual enough that it would fit Katie's prompt. So I'm going to read Sylvie and Bruno by Lewis Carroll for Katie's prompt. Then Roz, her prompt was to read a play, a Victorian play. And last year, I remember for Victober, I really wanted to explore George Bernard Shaw. Now, he is at the very end of the Victorian era, and then he moves into the Edwardian. And I'm not quite sure if the play, this is one of his earlier plays, so it might be just right on the cusp of the Victorian era. But I want to read Arms and the Man. First of all, I just read the Aeneid, and Arms and the Man is an obvious reference to the Aeneid. But also, I think I took a comedy course back in college, and I think I read Arms and the Man, and I don't remember a thing about it. And I cannot find my old book. But so I'm going to have to get the play somehow. But I want to read Arms and the Man by George Bernard Shaw. I'm kind of fascinated by him. He was like a big mover and shaker in the Fabian Society. I've discovered I have a soft spot for old socialists. Back in the day, I'm not a socialist. I think there's a lot wrong with it. But I love their idealism. You know, they really wanted to fix the world. I guess socialists today really want to fix the world. I just think their vision's really skewed. But I appreciate that. And also he was very good friends with G.K. Chesterton. I really love G.K. Chesterton. And yet one was an atheist and socialist, and one was a devout Christian and not a socialist. And they used to debate each other all the time, and yet they were the best of friends. So anyway, I just want to learn more about George Bernard Shaw. I'm really fascinated by him. I love Major Barbara, and I love the movie with Rex Harrison and Wendy Hiller. It's so good. And of course, My Fair Lady is based on Pygmalion. So I'm just really interested in him. So I'm really looking forward to Arms and the Man. And this is something that's even left over from last Victober that I never got to. All right, so those are the 4 prompts. And the group read is going to be my Kindle read, and that's The Doctor's Wife by, what's her name? Mary Elizabeth Braddon. Now, I have read a couple of books by Mary Elizabeth Braddon, or at least one. I know I read Lady Audley's Secret, and I think it was her. We read, when I was more active in Kate Howe's Victorian Book Club, we read another book by her, which was good. I liked her books. I wasn't wowed. Like some people really seem to love her and they want to read everything she wrote. That wasn't my reaction. She was fine. But to tell you the truth, The Doctor's Wife is supposed to be her response to Madame Bovary. Madame Bovary. That's funny. Which I read a long time ago and hated. I hated Madame Bovary. And so, I don't know. The Doctor's Wife is her response to it. So I don't know, will I agree with her response, or will it just, drag up old memories, painful memories of having to get through Madame Bovary? I don't know. But anyway, I do think it's the kind of book that would be really fun to read and discuss with others in the Discord. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to read The Doctor's Wife because I'm really looking forward to the discussion about it. And then they're also doing some extra prompts, which are tributes. So they're doing a tribute to Jennifer Brooks, who passed away in early January, very early January, I believe. And they're also doing a tribute to Alice of, what was her name? Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, I think, and who passed away in the spring, I believe. Now, I was really crushed by Jenny's death. And I have actually been reading a lot of stuff because I participated in the readathon, which was Read Like Jenny, or whatever it was titled. And I've read several books inspired by her already. So I think she's going to forgive me, even if it is Wilkie Collins, her favorite. And I like Wilkie Collins too. I've read both The Moonstone and The Woman in White, and I believe I've read one of them I've read twice. And I do want to read more Wilkie Collins. And if I had time, I would read more Wilkie Collins. I want to. Maybe next October I'll do that in honor of Jenny, but I'm not going to do it this time. But I do want to have a little bit of a tribute to Alice. Even though I didn't follow her much, I did sometimes go watch her channel, and I did like her a lot. And so I regret that I didn't watch more of her videos. But she, for her, they're reading Arthur Conan Doyle because she was a real fan of Sherlock Holmes. And I found this book. And Terry, if you are watching, look at this. Look at that. 1961 from Jackie. So this is your book. Can I keep it until after I read one of these short stories and then you can have it back? I have your book. I know that I've read some of these already. I know I've read A Study in Scarlet, The Sign of the Four, The Red-Headed League. So I'm going to read a different one. I'm going to read A Case of Identity, maybe, or A Scandal in Bohemia, or The Boscombe Valley Mystery. I'll read one of those. And maybe I'll read more than one. And that will be my tribute to Alice. So those are my Victober plans. I have other books I also want to read in October, but they're not related to Victober, so I'm not going to discuss them here. All right, well, I hope you are doing well, and I hope you're looking forward to participating in Victober, and I will talk to you later. Happy reading.